Hello, good morning from the news team in the South East and a warm welcome to viewers in London this morning. And first, union members at the South East Coast Ambulance Service start voting today on whether to strike over pay. They're among 15,000 ambulance workers across 11 trusts, including London, being balloted. The GMB union says ambulance staff are overworked and undervalued, and their 4% salary increase represents a real terms pay cut. The public will, from today, get to have their say on a controversial plan to tackle traffic congestion in Canterbury. The council's plans would see the city divided into 5 separate zones, with fines for those who drive directly from one zone to another. It wants to try to persuade people to walk or cycle instead of using their cars to reduce pollution. But opponents of the plan say it's an attack on motorists. It's the first working day without trains running between Hastings and Tunbridge Wells. The line is closed all week to coincide with half-term as Network Rail completes essential work stabilising embankments and laying new track in the Wadhurst Tunnel. Replacement buses will be running. Gatwick Airport is holding a careers fair in Brighton today. The event at the Grand in Brighton is one of a series being held as companies based at Gatwick look to recruit hundreds of people to fill a range of vacant posts, including in hospitality and retail. Gritter routes in Kent this winter will, for the second year running, be guided by data modelling to ensure they target the roads most likely to be icy whilst reducing the amount of unnecessary gritting. The County Council's teams will look at temperature sensor readings to ensure the most efficient coverage. Last winter, the county's crews regularly covered 58 primary routes using over 9,000 tonnes of salt. Well, talking of the weather, time to check in on the latest forecast now with Elizabeth Rizzini.
Hello there, good morning. Well, today's weather is not as dramatic today as it was yesterday across the southeast, but there could still be a few showers around at times. Now, it's a mild start to the morning. It was quite breezy, showery for a while last night. Plenty of cloud around this morning, but we should see the cloud thin and break to give us some spells of brightness and some sunshine. Just watch out for 1 or 2 showers blowing through on the still noticeable southwesterly wind, particularly towards the south coast. Temperatures a little lower than they were yesterday, but still mild for the time of year. And then a brief ridge of high pressure overnight tonight should keep us dry with some clear spells. Too windy really for any mist and fog patches to form, but temperatures could possibly drop back into high single figures in a few spots. Tomorrow, mostly dry, but another deep area of low pressure is winding its way in from the southwest. It's showery and mild through the middle of the week.
And just before we go, we can check in on the latest football results. Brighton and Hove Albion took on Chelsea in the FA Women's Super League yesterday. The final score, Brighton 0, Chelsea 2. Meanwhile, Lewis beat Charlton 2-1. That was in the Women's Championships. And that's all from us for the moment. Don't forget, we're back with you again in half an hour. In the meantime, I'll return you to John in Downing Street and Victoria in the studio and the rest of the BBC Breakfast team. We look forward to bringing you more news, travel, sport and weather in half an hour. Bye-bye.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with me, John Kay, live in Downing Street. Victoria Fritz is in the studio in Salford. And here are your headlines at 7 o'clock. Rishi Sunak is on course to be the UK's new Prime Minister after Boris Johnson dramatically quit the Conservative Party leadership contest. His decision to pull out leaves Mr Sunak as the clear front-runner in the race for number 10, way ahead, it would seem, of fellow candidate Penny Mordaunt.
And in other news this morning, millions of people across the UK are urged to get their flu and COVID vaccines as health experts warn of the threat of a so-called twindemic.
Good morning in sports. A statement victory for Newcastle United. Are the Saudi-backed club becoming the force many predicted as they beat Tottenham to move into the top 4?
And famous for his TV burp, comedian Harry Hill is going to be here in the studio to tell us about his new stand-up tour.
Good morning. We've got some fog in the northern half of the country today. That will lift as we go through the morning. We've also got some rain across Scotland, central and eastern England. That will clear. Then we're in for a day of sunshine and showers and an unseasonably mild week. I'll have all the details later in the programme.
Hello there, good morning. Monday morning, the 24th of October, a new week begins, and here we are again. in Downing Street, just a month after we were here the last time for a Tory leadership contest. And we've had some big developments overnight. It would seem that Rishi Sunak is now the clear front-runner to be our next Prime Minister. Why? Well, because Boris Johnson withdrew from the race to succeed Liz Truss at about 9 o'clock last night. The former Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, has the most declared backers among Conservative MPs. So far, he's the only candidate with the 100 supporters required. Penny Mordaunt, though, is still in the race. Her supporters have told us this morning that even though she appears to be trailing far behind, they're confident that she's got the numbers and that she will be in a runoff between Tory MPs when they vote later this afternoon. One way or another, though, we might find out by the end of today who our next Prime Minister is going to be, who is going to be the next inhabitant of this famous address. Attention now turning, though, to who is going to have enough support at 2 o'clock this afternoon when nominations close. And our political correspondent, Damien Grammaticus, can bring us up to date after another very eventful night in Westminster.
Are you running for the leadership, Mr. Sunak?
He's the man who could, by the end of the day, be Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak's team say they're taking nothing for granted. He will continue to canvass Tory MPs until nominations close at lunchtime.